Hey, good looking. I've got 10 single eyeshadows I'm excited to share with you folks today. So if you're interested in seeing some nice, juicy swatches of some pretty, shimmery, shiny, shifty shadows, then wait right here. We're getting into it. Hi, I'm Kendra Morgan Official. I put out content around single eyeshadows, makeup brushes, and sunscreens. So if you like that kind of content, be sure to subscribe. Let's get started. First shadow in my collection that I'm super excited to share with you guys today is the Moon Dust by Urban Decay in the shade Space Cowboy. This shadow right here is very glittery looking. However, it doesn't actually have glitter in it. I think somebody verified for us in the beauty community. But anyways, this looks really wet. It's got a nude clear base. It kind of reminds me of ColourPop's Ritz. So if you've got ColourPop Ritz, you've basically got this shadow as well. They are different formulations. So if Ritz, like if Super Shock shadows don't stay on your lids, then you might have to amp it up and go with this, because this is a very thin feeling formula and it feels very, very light and airy, and it's like it almost doesn't exist. I'm gonna just swipe a little bit up here in the brow bone. Do you see that? Do you see that? You might. And then again, maybe not. Anyways, gorgeous. I love it. It is $22. Have seen them on sale for half price though, so definitely check them out when you get a chance. Moving along. Second up, Sephora's Mirage. This is considered a colorful metal effect eyeshadow. It's found in the Sephora Singles Collection. But it is very, very beautiful. It is a duochrome. It's kind of like that mauve based with the teal blue shift over top. So one of my favorite ways to wear a blue eyeshadow. I can't really wear like straight on blues. They compete with the blue in my eye color, and so I don't find them very beautiful on me like I do a shadow like this one. It's very shiny and very reflective. I really like the formulation in the Sephora collection as well. They're pretty good. Ooh, this next one. I love her. I got introduced to the Ulta Beauty Bouncy Eye Cream from Amanda Z. I'll link her channel down below for you guys to check out. In the shade here that I have for you guys, I'm going to feature today is Italian Ice. Oh, baby. They are bouncy. They do feel wet and almost like a cream formula. You can use these. This is a really nice one and done shadow. It does again also look wet on the eyelid, and it does crease, so a primer is best with this eyeshadow if you're considering wearing it just on its own. If you're figuring on wearing it alone, you might go ahead and put an eyeshadow primer underneath it. But it is a beautiful shade. I like it. It's almost got like a transparency to it. Again, has a really, really light nude mauve base to it, and it is extremely, extremely shiny and shimmery. It's kind of got that glittery iridescence over the top of it, giving that wet look to it. It's very beautiful. I have for you a single by Davina in the shade Sweetie Sunbeam. This shadow right here is unlike the other ones that I've been showing off. It's a more glittery. It's got a little bit of texture to it. Again, this is a pink based eyeshadow with a glittery, shimmery over the top. It's kind of got some yellow and green shifts over the top, but it does bring about quite a bit of texture. You can see in the swatch there that it's really, really, it's got some body to it. So again, it would make a very pretty one and done eyeshadow. It also is a very nice shadow that can go over the top of a very beautiful shimmer, or maybe a shimmer that you put on the lid. I don't know how many times I've put on the lid a shimmer that was just a bit too light, and I wasn't quite interested in doing that type of a look. It's a little too stark, and then I put something like that over the top, and it kind of shapes it a little bit, it shifts it just a little bit, plus it adds a dimension of duochrome that I really enjoy. Staying with Davina, I also chose the shade Mystic Moon Pie. It's featured in my Moonlit Seduction palette dupe, what I'm using instead, and for good reason. It's got, again, almost a sheer translucent light mauve base, but the shift in this shadow is highly reflective of a pink and a icy blue, which is quite different than most. It also has a nice textury glitter to it. It is a micro shimmer. It doesn't have actual glitter in the shimmer shadow. I have to use this with a base, or excuse me, a primer of some sort. So like a glitter primer, a glitter glue of some sort. That's what I mean by primer for that. But also if I'm wearing it just by itself, which I haven't ever done before, but if I were to wear this by itself, I would also put an eyeshadow primer underneath. Something tacky, you know, but definitely wear something tacky underneath it. So in that realm, this is probably no surprise, but the next shadow that I have is JD Glow's Unexpected. It's also a duochrome, kind of like a duo multi-chrome, and it shifts, again, the pinky blue, you know, shift. Although I would say the base on this is nearly translucent, because you almost can't even see a glimmer of a base if you actually look just right. You can see a slight gray base, but it's very, very faint. Most of the color comes in the duochrome, which is what I find so beautiful about this. Again, this is how I wear blues, so I think that's why I'm so drawn to them, because I do like blue and green. It's my favorite colors, and so when I get the chance to show a teal shadow without show stopping or without competing for my blue eye color, I go for it. I am drawn to these types of shades. I can't help it. I can't help it. But I promise I've got other types of shadows here that I'm featuring today as well in the singles realm. Next up, if you were lucky enough to pick up one of these in pressed pigment form, Makeup Geek's Insomnia is a perfect spot-on dupe for MAC's Blue Brown, except that it is better formulated. It's creamier, it's butterier, and the shift to it is more of a teal blue instead of a blue. And I just think it's so beautiful. I've worn this a couple times by itself. People really love it. They think that I spend hours putting my eyeshadow on, and I've actually gotten compliments for wearing that, because it contains that vermilion base to it. It blends out to the vermilion base, and then you've got the shimmer, which is going to stay on your lids, and that's going to be blue. So it's so pretty. It's so beautiful. A little tidbit of information: Makeup Geek made this in a loose pigment. It was pressed for Manny MUA's collaboration palette, and so this is one of the leftover shades. I happened to be able to pick it up. I just happened to get to Makeup Geek website, and they were selling these for like $1 when they were liquidating everything, before they let on that they were liquidating everything, I should say. And so I picked one of these up, but I didn't actually know that they typically were found in the loose pigment form, and they were only pressed for Manny's palette. So little tidbit of information for you. Now let's move on to a shadow that I really fell in love with this year. Sydney Grace's Wondrous Night. Beautiful, beautiful shade. This is like when Tiara runs out. This is gonna be my jam right here. It is a taupe. It's kind of an antique looking taupe, and it is so beautiful. It does have a duochrome vibe to it. Like, if you look and you can see, there is a bit of a shift going on. There's a really, really, really high shine, glossy, shimmery shine to the shadow, and then it's got kind of like a darkened base. So Wondrous Night, you are going to be replacing Tiara if I ever run out of Tiara. Next up, Luxie Beauty's Proper is probably just one of the most beautiful peachy, shimmery, champagne-y looking shadows that I have had the pleasure of purchasing from their website. I think I don't know why, I just love this shadow. I have a couple of these in Sydney Grace's formula, and I don't like it as much as I like it in Luxie Beauty's. I think because I like it to be a little thinner, not so thick and opaque. This is a little thinner, it goes on, it's a beautiful shimmer, and it also has a really high sheen, high luster, so really, really like that shade. Really just a spectacular, good quality, all around, beautiful metallic. So, lastly, this shade right here is gorgeous, and I couldn't figure out why I picked it out until I looked over and swatched it on my finger. It is Luxie Beauty's Withered Rose. And it is a beautiful purple taupe. It's similar to Mesmerized by Makeup Geek. I think it's a little bit more icy and a little less purple. It also reminds me of Vintage by Natasha Denona. So if you like those types of shades, you probably would like Withered Rose. I haven't checked Luxie Beauty's website. I don't know if Withered Rose is one of those that's still available or not. They did discontinue quite a few of them, but if it's still available and you are in the market for a shadow like this, it is truly phenomenal. It is kind of a lavender, an icy silvery lavender. And I thought at first, I was like, is this the same exact shade as Wondrous Night? When I swatched them next to each other, I quickly realized no. Wondrous Night has a little bit more of an antique bronze shift to it, so they're not exactly the same, but they are probably in the same, I don't know, realm, if you will. But anyways, there you have it. Those are 10 special shadows in my collection that I'm excited for. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Can't wait to see you guys in my next video. Bye!